He shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. The land of Egypt shall not escape, which we saw that was connected historically with the whole story. But I also mentioned how the United States uses as the USA seal an Egyptian pyramid, and the United States is not going to last for long. So in a way, it could be included into what is being said here. Not only that, in the literal sense of Egypt, some are seen as a prophecy being fulfilled. Plus, we just read it here in a way that right now the Nile overflowed and is causing a lot of destruction also around there. So some see it as another prophecy of the end times. I'm sure it's a sign of the end, but some see it as a specific prophecy being fulfilled from Judaism. And remember that when Joseph, even Yaakov and others would come to a well, the water would come up. So the fact that the Nile specifically, where Yaakov and Joseph went, and the Nile overflowed, not in this way, but the fact that now is overflowing and causing destruction, that means that it's overflowing way more than it should. But that is connected with the descendant of Joseph appearing on earth. So I see that as a sign of the Mashiach ben Yosef the last, the fact that the Nile is overflowing in that matter. So he shall stretch out his hand against the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape. He shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. Egypt represents the world. Egypt represents the false religion, because it was the greatest in idolatry when Israel was there as slaves. And Egypt also represents the earthly Israel, the Israel of nowadays, the state of Israel. That's why in Revelation 11 says that the two witnesses will be killed where Mashiach was killed. Mashiach was killed in Jerusalem. Yet Revelation 11 says where they will be killed where Mashiach was killed. Well, it doesn't say Mashiach. It says where their sovereign was killed, which is spiritually called Egypt and Sodom. So Israel, mainly Jerusalem of this time, spiritually is Egypt and Sodom. So the fact that Egypt won't escape has to do with the fact that Jerusalem of this time will be destroyed eventually. That's why Yahushua said, when you see the abomination of desolation, those who are in Yehudah run to the mountains, flee to the mountains. That is in one, but as I always explain, then Yahushua is also quoted saying to flee to the mountains to all, not only those in Yehudah, but those in the physical Yehudah, in that geographical area, should run first, because that's where the destruction will begin. So he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt. Also the Libyans and the Ethiopians shall follow at his heels. The Ethiopians, that's the Kushim. Kush was the people, hence the Nimrod came. So Nimrod came from the Kushim. That's why here the Kushim or Ethiopians are mentioned as some who will follow, because they were, in this case I'm not mentioning the Ethiopians of nowadays, I mean the Kushim of back in the day. They were of the descendants, well, and some Ethiopians of nowadays, of course, the descendants of Cam, which was one of the 3 children of Noah. So the fact that they would follow the beast is also interesting, at least in the spiritual sense. They represent those who rebel against Yahweh.